Thank you for joining me today. Today we're going to go over some of the educational models and how the history of it became about. Please take out your graphic organizer, and if you have any questions during this lesson today, feel free to tweet me or use the class blog and I will get back to you with some answers. Right now I'm going to introduce how it was started. When America was considered the melting pot and there was an influx of immigrants into the United States, the educational system started tracking students based on similar ability levels. The tracking system became separate from the student population by putting them into either the high-performing track, your average general education tract, and then your low ability level tract along with vocational tracks for students. It wasn't uncommon for people to graduate from high school and go directly into the workforce. Because it wasn't uncommon for people to graduate from high school and go directly into the workforce, there wasn't very many people entering into the college world. So because of that, districts felt they needed to focus a lot of their educational funding and expertise into the higher track students to get them college and career ready, and they felt that the low ability level students could benefit from just having an average teacher and go right into the workforce. Because of the way that was divvied up, it was perceived as unfair and unequal to distribute the funds that way for all children across the board. And because of that unfair perception, there was Jeannie Oakes and Annie Wheatlock published books on tracking reform that swept across the nation. They felt that the low tracking students were unequally treated because of the lack of funding that they received, the lack of proper education, and so that shifted towards the reform of detracting, or almost where we are now, where you have almost two tracks you can go, your general education track or your AP honors type track, or also supplemented by interbaccalaureate or IB programs. They found that when you heterogeneously group kids together, the low track kids were raised up because they were built in with some high achieving kids, and they found that it had no adverse effect on your general population kids or your high ability kids. It didn't really help the high achieving kids excel, but it didn't hurt them as well. But it greatly improved the majority of the low track kids, raising the bar for them. Right now, I'm just going to take you through a typical educational track for the New York State student. New York State Regents requires 22 credit hours for graduation, 4 credits in English, 4 credits in social studies, 3 credits in science, 3 credits in math, 2 credits in physical education, 1 in a foreign language, 1 in art or music, a half a credit in health, and then a 3.5 sequence in an elective course. AP is an honor. Some of the typical course offerings, like I mentioned before, would be AP and honors classes, or they could be supplemented by an international baccalaureate program. The typical budget for how schools are run today is roughly around $33.5 million. We took the average of 4 or 5 schools in the local area, and that's roughly what they spend today for their budget. Where I work at Mid-Lakes, we offer 5 AP classes that require a prerequisite of an 85 in the previous year's class of the same subject. So if you wanted to take an AP English class, then you would need to have had an 85 in English the year before. If a student has not met the minimum requirement for that, they can still get into the class, but they need to write a letter to the principal stating why they should be elected to take this course, and they also need 3 letters of recommendation from other teachers in the school that say that they can handle the coursework. And then they also need to be signed in to the class by the teacher that is teaching that AP class. Some of the courses that we offer at Mid-Lakes, AP Calculus, Biology, Language, Literature, American History, and they offer a computer science class that's taught online. The honors class here is in 10th grade for honors English. Now, what do we have to do to push our students to get better? Right now, we've done a great job of lifting, using this track that we currently use, this current educational system that we have, to get the low achieving kids to the passing bar. In 2001, the kids that graduated in New York State was 65%. There has been a lot of reform since then, with No Child Left Behind and things like that, that dedicate that the lower track students have more resources and more funding. And now in 2012, the graduation rate has increased to 74%. But out of that 74%, only 35% of these students are college and career ready. It's up to us now to find what that next step is to push our kids above and beyond just that minimum passing bar. I feel in order to do this, we as educational leaders must lead the way in learning. We have to take the steps necessary to teach ourselves what we need to do to help these kids reach that college and career readiness. And one step in doing that is taking the opportunity as educational leaders to learn new ways, to find ways to supplement what we do now and make it a better place for our kids to learn and be successful. Thank you. Enjoy your evening.